Thunderstruck MTB here. Hey, I hope you and yours are doing well wherever and whenever you're watching this. Today's going to be a twofer. It's going to be, I guess, my thoughts on my new cockpit. Kind of weird when I first said the first word. My thoughts and review on my new handlebar and stem. Going to be a two-parter. We'll do the stem kind of first, down and dirty and quick, and then we'll finish off what most of you are probably here for, the handlebar. Before we get into that, my next video coming up around Christmas time of 2024, I'm going to go more in depth on my odyssey of the last 4 years since 2020, buying more handlebars and selling more handlebars than I ever want to admit to, more than you've ever seen on this channel, trying to help eliminate, fix, solve some of my hand pain, tingling, shoulder pain, and even some upper back pain. I'm going to talk to you about that. Hopefully, my daughter doesn't know it yet, but I'm hopefully having little Thunderstruck Jr. come in and she can speak to you guys and me as well as a working licensed EPT physio. My fellow Americans of physios, what the rest of the planet calls a physical therapist. She can kind of speak to what perhaps a 7-degree back sweep flatter Renthal bar compared to this PNW 10-degree sweep bar, what that might do to us, physically. So anyway, look for that video sometime around Christmas. Other than that, let's get into it. So what you're looking at here is an ENVE alloy mountain stem. So I needed this stem to go with these bars. That doesn't make sense right now, but it will here. I'm going to tell you why here when we do the bar review. So this stem is replacing Bergtech Enduro MK3 stem that from here out we'll just call the Bergtech. So when I knew I needed a new stem, I was looking around. I wanted a 42 millimeter stem because the Bergtech was a 42.5. I didn't want to go straight to a 40. I know some of you guys are, well, what's 2.5 mil Thunderstruck? Well, it's 2.5 mil. So I wanted to keep it the closest I could. So that means my options were this stem or the 1-up stem, and I much prefer the way this one looks, so we went with this one. I was willing to pay the $140 for it, retail. I found it as of this video now, middle of November 2024. This was on sale at jensenusa.com, $39.99. It's $140 everywhere else. I got this stem, guys, for $40 US plus tax. No way could you touch on AliExpress or Amazon anything for this quality for $40 US. So anyway, purchased it, got it. So I'm going to go into real quick some of the important specs, but you guys can go in and check with your website. You don't really need me to tell you specs wise. Then I'm going to touch on real quick what I thought when I opened it and then my thoughts of it. So specs wise, the important thing, it's a 3D forged, which is important, it's forged aluminum. They don't talk about what alloy. I'm guessing 6061, but I don't know for sure. That's strictly a guess. It's then machined to 1 inch of its life. It comes stock with stainless steel bolts. The bolts you're looking at here, these are titanium. These came out of my titanium, my Bergtech, which is the exact same bolt. And so these are titanium Bergtech bolts. So in they went. I saved 12 grams in the process. Yay. So those went in. It has a no-gap faceplate, which is a joy to work with compared to that darn Bergtech stem. So that's sort of the important facts. This particular one's a 42 length, 35 bar, and I can verify the stack is 40 millimeters on my calipers. Overall, when I opened the box, what did I think? If you're gonna pay $140, it's exactly the quality you would expect. Flawless. The machining, flawless. Anodizing, flawless. The ENVE laser etching, same thing, flawless. I mean, heck, even the faceplate matches up perfectly with the stem. That doesn't always happen. It's just exactly what you would expect. Obviously, that ENVE puts a lot of, I guess, quality control in people who give two rats' asses about quality control, the ones doing the job. So just what you would expect. How does it ride, Thunderstruck? I'm not going to insult any one of you and tell you I can tell the difference in stiffness or steering precision. None of that. I can't tell you anything about that. It's a freaking stem. Okay, everything's torqued to 5.5 Newton meters as spec. ENVE really, it couldn't go 6 or 5. You had to go 5.5. But anyway, it's all torqued. The bars have not slipped a micron, and neither has it slipped on a steer tube. Haven't needed to readjust my headset, nothing like that. It's a stem. I put it on. It holds the bars. And that's it. So I'm not going to try to pretend that I can tell you anything different than the BikeYoke. Looks wise, I think it looks really good. It matches this bike's flow. My aluminum frame bike is a little bit more petite, and so is this stem. And so I think it matches the lines real well of the bike. The BikeYoke didn't look bad. Obviously, I liked it a lot. And those bigger stems look a lot better on like a carbon fiber bike that's a little more burly and bulldog type. And this one's a little more greyhound like. So anyway, there you go. That's my review on the stem. Any specs, any questions you have, you can kind of throw them in the comments. You can check on their website for it. For $40 US right now, you can't. This is, I pride myself on value, on finding components for value. This is my biggest find I've ever found on the bike. So pretty stoked with it. So there you go. That leads us now to the PNW components, the Loam carbon handlebar. Bought this bar, again, searching to try to alleviate some physical pains. I turned 57 here in 4 more days, and I'm just getting old or just being a bigger wuss than I ever have. So just trying different things, and I thought, let me try the 10-degree back sweep. So we'll get into that the same way I did the stem. First things, some of the important stats. Again, you kind of check them out. This particular bar you're looking at, 35 millimeter clamp. Came stocked at 800 millimeters wide. I cut it down to 785 because, I'm thunderstruck. I couldn't just go 780 or 790. I got to go 785. It is a 38 millimeter rise, 5-degree back sweep, and most importantly, why you're probably here, is a 5-degree up sweep, 10-degree back sweep, 10-degree back sweep. So those are some of the specs of the bars. The last spec I want to talk about is the EFBE Tri-Test Category 5. I wrote that down, make sure I got it right. PNW components use a third-party lab, and that was certified to Category 5. No, to sell handlebars, you don't have to do this, and very few companies do. PNW did, and they certified it as Category 5. That is like professional downhill racing. That's like going to Rampage. If you wanted to do it on this bar, you could do it. Plus, they have a lifetime warranty. So those are 2 of the big specs that I wanted to just kind of throw out there. I think they're fantastic in terms of that. So check the rest of the specs out. Let's go when I unboxed it. It's like an unboxing channel, but I'm using like a hand puppets and a shadow puppet show. So it comes in a box. Obviously, it comes in well boxed. Comes in what looks like a plastic wrapper, but it's actually not a plastic wrapper. It's compostable, and it's compostable here at the house, not just like in the landfill. So that's really cool. I like to see more companies doing stuff like that. As I took the bar out, the same thing I said about the ENVE and them giving a crap is said. This is probably one of the nicest handlebars I've ever seen in person as I pulled it out. It is 100% flawless. I absolutely dig it. The sort of glossy looking stuff there, it's not like a sticker. I don't really feel it with my fingernail. I think it's like paint. And I think it's more for aesthetics. It's not there like on the Renthal carbon fiber fat bar. They have that tape there at the stem that's kind of textury like a cat's tongue to help with grip. This isn't that. This, I believe, unless I'm wrong, if PNW sees this and wants to correct me, so be it. But I think it's just for aesthetics. But again, looks awesome. What I really like is you cannot see any seams. It's almost like they painted the bar or something else or machined the bar after. I don't know what they did, but you can't see any seams of the carbon fiber like you can on a 1-up bar. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm lukewarm on it. I much prefer this. This is just, again, just a badass looking bar. The ends you can easily cut. There was in 5 millimeter increments on either side, so you can go from 800 to 790 all the way down to I think 740, I believe. I went down to again 785. In the bar itself, at the very ends, they use a different type of carbon fiber. I forgot what it was, but it helps it not fray when you cut. And these are the pieces that I cut, and they cut perfectly clean. Now I did use my Park Tool carbon fiber blade, but I've also used a regular bimetal hacksaw blade before on 1-ups and never had a problem either, but it was nice. They cut clean. And yeah, there you go. So those are my first impressions. Now, why did I need a different stem other than that BikeYoke here? Well, here we go. It's because you're looking at as a second bar. First bar I put on, I cut. I started torquing everything with my torque wrenches there. I went from 3 to 4, was on my way from 4 to 5, 5 eventually to 6 with this, and yeah, you probably get where this is going. As I'm tightening the thing up and going, you know, and trying to keep an even gap and doing little things there between 4 and 5. Yeah. And at the bottom of the bar, what happened is the bottom of the bar broke, like this was right here. The bottom of the bar had like a compression, sort of a divot and then a crack. I reached out after hours to PNW. They called me back on my cell phone the next business day at 7:50 a.m. apologizing, saying I had 2 options. Number 1, they give me my money back right then and there, no questions asked. Number 2, they send me a second bar and as of yet unreleased brand new stem of theirs that they were going to release in about 4 days. And sure enough, on Pink Bike they did. I took that second option, even though it was only a 40mm stem, and said, yeah, let's go with your new stem and give it a try. It came here 3 days later. I got the new stem. It's nice and all, little too angular for me, and that's why I ended up going back with the ENVE right here. So didn't care for the stem, but they took care of me like that. And what he told me is, on some Berg techs, they're finding they're not machined properly, and see the bottom part there, how I'm like mismatching it on purpose to kind of show when it can go in, it can create a load point, for a better word, and it can break their bars. He said I'm far from the first person to have a problem with the Berg Tech stem. There's no asterisk on their website, doesn't mention it. I didn't ask them why it's not on the website, not my business. I just appreciated that they took care of it. So if you're watching this and you have a Berg Tech stem, I would either not buy these bars or I would figure out a different stem with it. So why did the Berg Tech stem break those carbon bars, but yet not my Renthal fat bars, not my 1-up carbons, and also not my Tidal forms? I don't know. I'm just telling you this is what happened. So there you go. That's why we have the stem and bars. Now let's get on real quick. We talked about what I thought with the looks, the specs. Probably what you're here for. Enough jammering, Thunderstruck. You're already 12.5 minutes in. What do you think? How does it ride? Here we go. I'm going to sum it up into 2 parts. First is compliance. Won't take long. Second is to that 10-degree back sweep. So compliance. Well, if I were stranded on a desert island and the only way for me to get off that island was to accurately be able to identify this bar versus a 1-up components carbon bar in a blind test, and I had to identify them accurately 10 times in a row, well, what would happen in 30 years is someone would find my skeleton lying on the beach somewhere, probably with my arm hung around my freaking volleyball Wilson, because I would not be able to do it. They feel just, to me, like a carbon 1-up bar. If you love the carbon 1-up bar, you're going to love these. If you don't like the carbon 1-up bar, you're not going to love these. I don't know how else to say it. I'm going to go in more in depth on the next video coming up as a general rule of materials and what I've found between different things. But again, if you like the 1-up, you're going to love this. If you don't, you're not going to love it, okay? That's all I can talk about in terms of compliance, comfort, softness, harshness, damping, all that stuff that everyone loves to talk about with the carbon bars. I wish I had more for you right now, but that's all I'm going to go to in this video in terms of that. How does that feel, Thunderstruck? How did the 10 degrees back sweep feel? Every other bar I've ever installed, whether it's been a 7-degree Renthal straight to a 9-degree Deity, by the time I install the bar, by the time it's here, I install the bar, I head out on the road here, my housing track, I do a couple quick little things around, and I roll the bar a little more forward, a little back, a little forward, a little back, and the same thing with the levers and that whole install process. By the time I'm done with that, the bar usually feels the same to me. By the time I head out for my first ride, I'm kind of like, oh, that's right, I changed bars. It kind of feels like my bike. These, I did not have that sensation. Not only did it feel still different when I left for my ride, but my ride's about a mile to get to the trailhead from here, most of it on sidewalk and then some dirt road. It still felt different all the way through till somewhere around the halfway of my first 15, 16 mile ride. Somewhere around the halfway point, it dawned on me, hey, I haven't thought about my bars in a long time. And then I knew right then and there that the component had disappeared beneath me. But that has never happened in terms of new bars. So that was kind of different for me. What do I think about the 10-degree back sweep? I would call it normal. I would call it comfortable. I would call it familiar feeling with no compromises and no caveats. It feels almost like I'm sitting on a motocross bikes, have more back sweep handlebars. It feels very comfortable. I don't have any compromises at all in terms of climbing, descending, standing, jumping, and pedaling. For me, if you watch my channel at all, I do longer rides, a lot of pedaling. So to me, the effective top tube is important. So where my seat is right now, here to this location up here, that effective top tube, and the higher of course my seat goes, the longer my effective top tube is. It's very important as I do a lot of seated pedaling, and too long of one and I'm too stretched out, lower back starts to hurt, pressure on my front of my junk where pressure shouldn't be on the nose of the saddle, all that good stuff, too close, and I'm a little bit too upright, and little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, and then usually descending's horrible. So the metric of effective top tube, it put it at the very minimum of what I would expect. Any more back, and I think I'm gonna be too upright. Any more back, I think I then have to slide my saddle back. If I slid my saddle back, I'm gonna be different over my bottom bracket. So as soon as you push that one domino, other dominoes fall with it. The 10 degrees back have to be very natural. I like the seated pedaling position. Standing up, descending, steep stuff. Again, no compromises at all. Everything feels natural to me. I'm not gonna answer the question in this video, did it fix what I was trying to fix? We'll have to wait and see for the next video on that thing. But what I can just tell you about, because again, you watching this, you may have, you may be strong like bull, and you have no problems at all with your body, and you don't care that my stuff hurts and why I got it. You just want to know how it rides. So for me, for this bike, how it rides, zero compromises at all. I rode 7-degree Renthals forever. I rode then 8 and 9 for a long time, and this is the first time I've ever been on anything a 10. And again, I think it's great. I think it's just, go back to that word natural. I hope that helps. My hands are good. I don't feel like I'm not too beach cruisy, but I'm also not too downhill Bernard Kerr attacky. I'm just sort of natural, and everything just feels natural. I'm super, super, super happy with this purchase, and I can't see myself changing for any reason. Famous last words, but I do think these are here to stay. I am digging the you-know-what out of them. And yeah, there you go. 18 minutes, guys, on a stem and a bar, but again, you can shut me off anytime you want. I'd rather give you too much information than not enough. So there you go. Look for my new video coming up around the Christmas time. Hopefully my daughter's game. Hopefully she doesn't know it yet. Hopefully she's going to do this with me. And we'll see what the old physio has to say compared to just a dumb old Thunderstruck out here. But I think some of you are going to be horrified by how many bars that I have purchased since 2020. So get ready to be horrified. And we'll see you on the next one coming up, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving, a happy holidays, whatever that means to you. And we'll talk to you here soon around the Christmas time. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.